Welcome to Douchebag Cinema. I'm your host, Some Douche. Every December, as soon as Lifetime starts its yearly barrage of holiday films nobody asked for,
he's the wooden nutcracker come to life.
Americans know that it's not only officially the season to be jolly, but it is also the season to be outraged over what other Americans are jolly about.
This is the season for some holiday hysteria.
Stop taking Christ out of Christmas.
It's basically the elimination of God.
The war on Christmas heads to Sin City.
War on Christmas?
War on Christmas. The war on Christmas.
Reignited in 2004 after some unfortunate seasonal worker at a department store triggered conservative news pundit Bill O'Reilly by greeting him with Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas, the war on Christmas has served as a seasonal battle cry for right-wing political commentators in order to fake outrage and rile up their audience in between heart medication commercials. And while the majority of these Christmas crusaders limit the scale of their imaginary battlefields to basic cable television, they soon realize that the only way to ensure their message of Christmas joy forever replaced the secular alternative of holiday spirit, they would need to cement their message in the world of cinema. To achieve this goal, the conservative community enlisted the most influential Hollywood celebrity they have at their disposal.
I love Christmas.
Enter early 90s television icon and direct-to-video powerhouse Kirk Cameron, a devout evangelical Christian since the age of 17 when he found Christ after following a girl into a church in a failed attempt at getting laid.
And why did you go to church, Kurt?
It wasn't because I was interested in God. I was interested in the girl who invited me to church.
Having failed that day to simp his way to a Gluck Gluck 9000, a young Kirk emerges from his first visit to a church as a born-again Christian, with a fervent desire to spread the good word of the Lord, while at the same time shaming anyone who only wanted some of that same sloppy Gluck Gluck action for themselves.
Whoever looks at a woman to lust after her has committed adultery already with her in his heart.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
By your own admission, you're a lying thief and an adulterer at heart.
Naturally, this festive Christian spirit eventually led Kirk to not only antagonize people with too little faith on the street, but also to confront people with too much of the wrong faith within Christianity itself, particularly when it comes to how people celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ.
It was time for someone to speak up and save Christmas from the pagan Scrooges and the religious nitpickers.
Enter the 2014 faith-based film Saving Christmas, rated with a seldom seen 0% on RottenTomatoes.com. No doubt the work of the aforementioned pagan Scrooges. The film stars Cameron as a man on a mission to help his brother-in-law find the true meaning of Christmas, a standard-sounding holiday movie message on the surface. However, Saving Christmas breaks away from convention by not centering around a character who is merely indifferent to the joy of the holidays, but rather centers around a character who, despite being a devout Christian, resents anyone who dares have fun at Jesus' birthday party.
Explain to me how that Christmas party honors and glorifies Jesus. Because I'm not seeing it.
Like the plucky offspring of the Westboro Baptist Church and the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, so does our antagonist, subtly named Christian himself, go on to state a litany of ways modern Christmas celebrations have strayed away from the holiday's less commercialized origins.
Newsflash! Christmas tree, not in the Bible. That's a pagan idol symbol worshipping thingy. You know that, right?
Luckily for him, Kirk understands that the only way to reach into the heart of an angry fundamentalist is to replace any saccharine element of Christianity with imaginatively violent analogies.
What did Jesus do? He put himself up on a tree
making us right with God. Jesus was God's blessed fruit hung on his blessed tree.
By making a direct connection between one of the most joyous days in the Christian calendar with the most violent thing to ever happen to Christ himself, Kirk manages to win over the respect of his friend, who, like many fundamentalists, are infinitely more attracted to the most violent aspects of their faith than seeing children enjoy themselves on Christmas.
That's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
This sentiment is later reinforced when Kirk pleads his case of why his brother-in-law should embrace the figure of Santa Claus, who, up until this moment, had fallen out of favor with Christian due to his jolly disposition replacing the grimmer aspects of his faith, which he treasures so much.
The reason for the season is Santa Claus. What the kids are saying all across the world is not, I'm so excited to celebrate the birth of Jesus. No, they're saying, I'm so excited to get my picture taken with Santa Claus. Oh, you're gonna make me presents.
Now, as we well know, this anti-Santa sentiment is nothing new to the genre of Christmas cinema. If anything, the turning point for a character's arc from stringent disbeliever to enthusiastic admirer has become a staple of the genre. From Doris Walker's restored faith in people in Miracle on 34th Street to Jack Skellington's newfound understanding that appropriating foreign cultures is a kind of a dick move in The Nightmare Before Christmas, the figure of Santa Claus has long served as the catalyst for character growth in these films, presenting the audience with the ultimate message of the story they're being told.
Let me tell you about the real Santa Claus.
Oh, I'm ready.
A message which, in the case of this film, is the historical Santa Claus is cool because when he encountered an atheist, he beat the ever-living shit out of him. Not since Die Hard has a Christmas film gleefully displayed this level of violence when trying to tell a wholesome holiday story.
Truth was on the line, and it was not the time for this pastor to go soft on truth or stay quiet for the sake of being politically correct.
The reveal of political correctness as something Kirk Cameron considers an opposing force to his interpretation of Christianity, instead of something that aligns itself with his faith in a figure known for his tolerance and compassion, unveils the strongest theme this film has in common with the so-called War on Christmas: the imaginary oppression of Christians in America.
It really is not about necessarily just a war on Christmas, it's about the war on Christianity.
Ever since Native Americans allowed the Mayflower to park at Plymouth Rock, fundamentalist colonizers brought with them a fanaticism for their faith that had all but started to wane in their native Europe during the 17th century. In his book, Fantasyland: How America Went Haywire, writer Kirk Anderson explains, for colonial Americans, America was a sequel to biblical history and fulfillment of prophecy. So, of course, American Christians would be derided like the early Christians. For Protestants, as for Americans, persecuted righteousness was central to their self-identities.
Christians are tired of being bullied for their faith in the public square.
And while most would be skeptical to believe the claims that a millionaire pastor of a 14,000-member Baptist church in a majority Christian country is in any way oppressed, it is precisely the loudest of conservative leaders who have made it their mission to gaslight their base into feeling Christianity is somehow under attack in a country where the word God is literally printed on its currency.
If I'm president, you're going to see Merry Christmas in department stores, believe me. Believe me.
As Anderson further explains in his book, here in the land of homespun truth-finding and institution-making, Protestants' founding impulse, nonconformists, dissenting, protesting, waxed and waned but never went dormant. Established leaders were regarded with chronic resentment, and renegade leaders with cultish devotion.
Thank you, President Trump, for letting us say Merry Christmas again.
it is the compounding of centuries of this fantasy of persecution what fuels Kirk Cameron's character in Saving Christmas, a fuel he is able to share with his brother-in-law once he's made it clear that Santa Claus shouldn't be a beloved Christian figure for his generosity towards children, but rather for his unhinged violence against atheists.
Santa is the man.
Not since that girl from Smallville joined a woman-branding sex cult has someone had to perform this level of mental gymnastics in order to justify enjoying the most toxic tenets of their faith.
And now that you know who the real Santa is, I got a question for you. Would you like to take a picture with him?
And while the film struggled to connect with a mainstream audience during its limited release in theaters, Saving Christmas serves as a window into the minds of the most imaginative of American Christians, a demographic who overwhelmingly voted to have a family in the White House that represented their traditional love for the holidays.
Who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
While keeping the godless heathens out of positions of power in order to protect their joy of Christmas traditions from their secular agenda. Never have conservatives in America used the power of cinema to reveal such an unflattering portrait of themselves, while allowing basically every single secular film in the Christmas genre to portray a more wholesome appreciation for the day their Lord and Savior was born, as they did with Kirk Cameron's holiday masterpiece, Saving Christmas. That's it for this episode of Douchebag Cinema. Until next time, keep it douchey. Now, to watch a dissertation about how QAnon hijacked the social media discourse around Netflix's Cuties, click here. For more episodes of Douchebag Cinema, follow us on social media and don't forget to subscribe or whatever.